Good morning, friends. I hope you're doing fantastic. Hey, welcome to my free and complimentary 45-minute webinar designed to help you finish strong for 2018, but more importantly, start stronger in 2019. We notice when, and maybe you could go and check out your own office for fun. A lot of times everyone's like, oh, it gets so slow at the end of the year. And what we find in many offices and in many cases is the closings are pretty consistent throughout the year. The number of closings, there might be a slight bump based off of your local area in maybe the summertime months. But for a lot of offices that I've chatted with, and we've actually gone back and done the research, and for the office that I'm affiliated with, January and February are oftentimes our slower months. And a lot of times that really doesn't have to do with necessarily the market, because homes we know sell every month of the year, but rather agents perhaps not being as proactive and intentional in the months of October, November, and December. So in order to have you start out really strong and not start all of your effort in January, which could provide for very slow months in January and February, I'm going to encourage you to get into some habits right now that will actually create some momentum for you to have a very strong start to the year. So these are habits that I would like for you to kind of think about creating. And, they should carry you through the entire year. But at any rate, let's try to finish strong this year and start out stronger next year. So I hope right now, as you reflect and look at your business, I hope number one, that you're happy. Being happy is really the best. It's the best goal to go for. It's your joy and it's your happiness and your passion and your enthusiasm for what you do for a living that is really my passion, is helping you see that, realize it, live it, and share it. Share it with others, the passion of helping others realize their dreams. So one thing that we notice in this industry, and that I notice and I'm guilty of in many areas probably, that I'm always working to try to get better at, is being spontaneous and reactive. And basically what that means is you kind of get up every morning and your day is dictated by what you read in your email first thing and what is happening on your phone. And we kind of want to shift from that. One thing I could encourage you right away is to try to refrain from checking your email or your phone until a little bit later in the morning. I used to say, geez, if you could wait till 10 o'clock, it would be great. And most people, look at me like I have 15 heads. And most people can't do that. But instead of looking at your phone and your email at 6 in the morning or 7 in the morning or 8 in the morning, try starting at 9. Unless you have a closing set up for 9 o'clock that morning or an appointment to go show property at 9 o'clock that morning or go meet with a seller at 9 o'clock that morning, you could probably wait until 9 o'clock in the morning to actually check those things. And there's a lot of things that you can get done before that hour that would probably put some good habits in place for you to have you start the day and be more productive. So spontaneous and reactive realtors, their business and their life kind of looks a little bit like this, a little bit stressed out. And probably the worst thing that we can do is multitask. The problem with multitasking is that you might have this false sense of accomplishment where you're not really accomplishing anything well. What you're actually doing is a bunch of stuff not that great, not to your full potential. You're not giving it the focused energy and the focused attention that would actually produce for much higher results and a better outcome and higher quality service. So try to avoid the multitasking, trap that so many of us get in. And it's become rampant. And they actually have said now that it actually causes brain damage. So I know that sounds kind of extreme, but I can kind of see how that's true, and it's not really, people are always, use that, oh, I have ADD. And, okay, I don't know, I'm not a doctor, so I don't really know how much of ADD is self-inflicted or a choice, or it's a really known problem. But I think we create a lot of that on our own, and it's choices. And it's choices because we don't have parameters set up, we don't have schedules set up, and we don't have things in place to help us win. So really the cures for being spontaneous and reactive are being proactive and intentional. And that means that you have a plan every day. You know what you're trying to accomplish. You have it set out. You're ready to follow it. So it's your GPS. It's your goals, your plans, and your strategies. And you're committed to implementing those. And, that's really where the magic comes in running a really profitable, fun, exciting, and long-lasting real estate business. Is you have to be proactive and intentional. You have to have that plan, and you have to follow it, and you have to be committed to it. And you can't let, the nuances of our world today and all the distractions and all the things that kind of get us off track, get you off track. You've got to make the commitment. So, those are some things I want you to think about. Every morning you should get up and say, I want to be proactive and intentional. I want to have a plan. I want to work the plan. I want to have that sense of accomplishment. I mean, aren't there days when you get up and you have all these things that you want to get done and you actually get them done and you feel so good? The little misnomer about that is that it doesn't have to be an 8-hour day filled with task after task after task and appointment after appointment after appointment. Winning the day, as Brian Buffini talks about, can be done actually in like 1 power hour. So 1 power hour of focused attention, of knowing exactly what you want to accomplish, can propel your business like you would not believe. We totally underestimate the value of the power of an hour. So, another class that I teach and that I'm passionate about is really drilling down into activities management and really understanding how to take control of your activities. And really what it comes down to, honestly, is you need a job description. You need a job description. You need to put it into time blocks, and then you need to follow the job description. I mean, if you'll treat it like a job and run it like a business, you'll have incredible, incredible results. So believe it or not, we are coming down the wire to about 15 weeks left of the year. And I don't know where the time has gone, but it's gone. And we can't get it back. Once time is gone, it's finished. So if you take out some holidays and stuff, that really leaves us with about 12 weeks. And we're really down to about 11, believe it or not. So 111 days for the rest of the year. That's 70 days. If you take out all the holidays and the weekends, or if you're working weekends, if you take out 2 days a week for downtime, which I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy 2 days off a week. Some of you may, some of you may not. But it is nice to have that downtime. That's what helps you stay happy and rejuvenate yourself, so that you can really operate at the highest and best of who you are and what you have to offer other people. So it's 560 hours. Again, putting those hours into a weekly accountability time blocking schedule is critical. I encourage you to write down some stuff. This fourth quarter would be a fantastic time for you to pour your energy into tracking who you are, what you do, what you get done, who you speak to, how many appointments you go on, how many open houses you hold. This is a great time for you to use this last quarter to really put some things into place and to do some self-analysis. Do a business assessment. I actually provide all my clients with a self-analysis where they look at their business in about, I don't know how many, I just happen to have one here for my client. 12 different categories in your business. And I'd be happy to share this just for you to just kind of look at where you are in your business in 12 different areas that I think over a 5-year period you should be working on to get to a level between 7 and 10. 10 being a level that you feel really good and you're really confident in your abilities. Seven kind of being the bare necessity that you would need, in my opinion, to get the results that you're trying to in each of the 12 areas of your business. If you'd like a copy, just shoot me a message or call me. I should just have everybody call me. That way I get to talk to people. I shouldn't even say private message me. We should probably do that more now that I think about it. We should prompt people to call us more than, hey, just send me an email. Because when you talk, that's what I'm going to do. If you want a copy of the business self-assessment, call me. And that'll be a challenge. Go find my phone number. Some of you may have it. Then you can tell me where it's not. So now I'll also figure out where I don't have all the proper information that I should have out on the planet. So look up my phone number and call me and ask for the business self-assessment. And I'll be happy to have a quick conversation and then email it to you. So anyway, we really need to have more conversations with people. So we should be prompting more people to call us, not email us, not text us, there's, that's just, I don't know. It's all just fake. It's just fake stuff. The magic happens when you sit down with people. The magic happens when you are voice to voice, where you can make a connection, where you can build upon a relationship. So I just added something to my little Finsh Strong and start off stronger. Ask people to call you. Why don't you call people? We should just call people, right? And if I knew who was watching this today, I could call you. All right. So if someday is a day in your week, we need to remove that. So someday isn't a day of the week. Our someday needs to be every day. Every day we should be excited, passionate, enthusiastic, and fired up to go and do more of what we say we love to do. So if you're struggling with doing activities that put you in front of people, if you're struggling with these activities, sometimes I wonder if there isn't a subconscious disconnect between if you really are enjoying what you're doing here. So make sure that your belief system is in line with what you're actually trying to accomplish in your career. To me, when people are passionate about what they do, they can't wait to do more of it. So sometimes we need to just do a little self-reflection on, is my belief system in line? Am I doing what I'm called for? Am I doing what I truly love? Or is it a struggle? And I'm not saying you can't do it if it's a struggle, but you're going to have to at least recognize that. That will help you actually tremendously if you can analyze all of your limiting beliefs, your beliefs about this business, the beliefs about who you are and what you offer. A lot can be told when you get those in line. So another thing that we tend to do is, I'm going to start tomorrow. And I catch myself doing that all the time. We're moving to Denver, and I got half the house packed, probably too soon. So I don't have a lot of my normal things in place for cooking and doing shakes and stuff like that. I've gotten off the shake track anyway. I've been terrible, honestly. So I can't even use moving as an excuse. But Mike and I both have said, all right, as soon as we get to Denver and we get unpacked and we get all situated, we're going to go back to juicing. We're going to start, planning our menu every week like we used to do. And I just kind of have to laugh because we get into that trap of, I'll start tomorrow. And I could start today. I could plan what I'm going to eat this week. I don't need to be in Denver to do that. So I find myself, I've got to stop saying that. So let's all try to help ourselves and help each other. Stop saying we'll start tomorrow. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. It can be all or something. So why don't we just try to do something each day that's a benefit to ourselves and our career. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. And what I tried to do was come up with 1 or 2 tips in all the kind of different areas of lead generation, because some people are going to like certain areas and some people aren't. So I'm really hoping that you can get between 3 and 5 tips, nuggets, reminders, inspiration, motivation, whatever you want to call it, out of the next 30 minutes that you can write down, take some notes. If you need additional resources from anything that I speak about today, I'm always happy to share. I was going to say, call me. But honestly, you can shoot me an email, you can shoot me a text. Just be very specific about what it is that you're looking for based off of what you hear on today's webinar. So don't be afraid to cut things back to grow. Sometimes, and what I mean by that is sometimes we accumulate all kinds of stuff because it makes us feel good, like all kinds of leads and all kinds of names and all kinds of addresses and all kinds of contacts. Makes us feel good, like a big tree out there, but it also then limits our growth. And it also gives us a false sense of security about who it is that we're really communicating with. So tip number one would be for you to take this week or next week or whenever you're listening to this webinar. It could be next year. It could be, I don't know, maybe there's 1 week left to the year. Take a week and just do one little thing of cutting back and cleaning out. It feels so good, especially when you do these 5 days in a row. So Monday, subscribe to all unwanted emails. Enroll in unroll.me. That will take all of your emails and put them into one email where you can see all the emails at one time. And I believe that that daily roll-up that it's called comes out, I don't know, somewhere between 9 and 10. So it comes in after I was suggesting that you check your email to begin with. And that'll kind of free up and clean up our dishwasher, right? Our email dishwasher. So it's getting other people's agendas out of your world. So just unsubscribe to things and see if you like that unroll.me. I've been using it. I heard it from another office that had a meeting, and I just thought it was the coolest thing, and I've loved it. I've used it ever since I heard them talk about it, and it's great. So that would just be a Monday exercise. Then on Tuesday, unfollow from all groups that you no longer engage with in social media. It's just a lot of noise, and unfortunately, it could be a group that I run that, you know what, if you don't engage in the group anymore, it's not going to hurt my feelings. I'm not going to take it personally. Go ahead and unfollow. I went through and did that. Honestly, I didn't even know how I got put into like 19 groups. I'm like, how did I even get in here? When did I get in here? Have I ever even been in here? But it felt so good to just go and clean up and unfollow and just unclutter the noise. Lots of strategies I teach on that within the top 100 and creating lists and things like that and how to manage your Facebook account. But at any rate, this is just one little thing that you can do that just makes you feel good. On Wednesday, why don't you go ahead and pull all your year-to-date production and track where the business came from. One of the first things I do when I'm helping folks is, hey, let's look and see where all your business has come from the last 24 months or 12 months or 2 months, however long you've been in business. And let's see where it came from. You know, what is working for you? And then that will help us analyze if you are investing in certain approaches like online leads or ads or a website. That will allow us to analyze the return on investment. So if you're spending $1,200 a month on Zillow leads, but when we go back and track the last 24 months and I don't see one closed sale from a Zillow lead, then that means one of two things. Either we eliminate that expense, because at that point it's an expense, it's not an investment, or we work on the skill set of converting and we figure out how we can up that return on investment. So a lot of times people are just like, oh, that doesn't work, I'm canceling. And I always tell people, don't cancel so quickly. Let's first figure out why it's not working. A lot of times it's not actually what you're investing in, it's your own skill set. So not to be brutal, but a lot of times we're the problem, not the lead generation source. We are not properly matching up our conversion skill set with the type of lead that we're generating. That's a class I do called Generating the Leads, the Easy Part. Because generating leads is not difficult. It's actually in the conversion, but you have to make sure you're aligning the proper skill. So why don't you just take a look at where all your business is coming from? And if all your business is coming from a particular source, then you know you're on the right track with that source. Let's get better. Let's get more of that. And then if there's other areas that you want to expand into, it's fantastic. It kind of becomes a challenge and it becomes fun. Thursday, I encourage you to turn off all your unnecessary notifications on your phone and clean it out. Clean your phone out. When's the last time you went through and just cleaned out your phone? Do you have all the contacts in there? All your past clients, are they in there as a contact? How much information do you have in there? Just go through and turn off any notification that you do not need to be immediately alerted on, which is probably many. We don't need those constant dings and distractions and things to take us off our game. It's become such an addiction that it's kind of scary. I'm not going to go into all that, but it is very, very scary how much we are addicted to our phones, and it's a problem, and it's a message that we send every single day to everybody in our life, that we're always waiting and looking for a better option. If I was to sit here like this with my phone instead of the remote control and doing this webinar, you'd think that was weird. If you go to an event and one of the speakers is up there on the stage holding their cell phone and constantly looking down at it, I think you'd be a little bit freaked out. I'm kind of in the world of looking at a lot of people going like this all day when I'm teaching, but that absolutely sends a message. So you need to be cognizant of that. And when you are face to face with someone, you need to give them your full attention, family included. I encourage you to push yourself to leave your cell phone out of complete sight the next time you go to a class, the next time you meet with a client, the next time you go to dinner with your family. See if you can do it. That'll be a little challenge for you. And then on Friday, why don't you stock up for success? And what I mean by that is a lot of times we have great intentions, but we're not prepared. So it's not really that we're lazy or bad people. It's just that we're not prepared when it comes time to do what we say we're going to do. So a lot of the strategies that I teach are about being a massive giver. And that's a giver of time, it's a giver of notes, it's a giver of gift cards, it's a giver of information, it's a giver of, going by and seeing people. It's just, the more you give, the more you open yourself up to receive. And that's really what it's about, giving joy, giving information, giving a cup of coffee, giving a handwritten note, giving a little pop-by item, giving valuable information when tax time comes out or when it's time for your escrows to renew, giving a referral to other people, helping other people's business improve. The more you focus outward, the more opportunity will come your way. So we need to be prepared. So I encourage you for the rest of the year to every Monday, send someone a cup of coffee. Send someone a $5 gift card to Amazon. Send them a gift card to Home Depot. Send them an ice cream. Send them a donut from a local donut shop. Just pick someone every Monday and give out something. Maybe a scratch-off lottery ticket. But you have to be prepared. So I encourage you, look at how many weeks are left in the year, about 12. Go out and buy 12 gift cards for the rest of the year and plan to get rid of those before the end of the year. Go invest and buy them all at one time. Then you need to have a bunch of personal notes. So go out and buy a bunch of personal notes so that you're prepared. Have your stamps already ready. A lot of times we have great intentions, but we're like, oh, I forgot to do that. Oh, I don't have anything. Oh, I'll go pick it up later. And then later doesn't come. And then you miss the birthday, or you miss the fact that, someone had a loss in the family and you didn't send the sympathy card because you weren't prepared. So you should have a stack of sympathy cards, birthday cards, thank you cards, just blank personal notes. I have a cool stack. It's just Happy Friends Day. And it's really cute. So loss of a pet, there's all kinds of things. And if you're prepared, then you're more likely to do it. Send out cards is another great service. You can personalize those cards. I love send out cards. I also subscribe to them. I do a lot of written notes too, but I like send out cards because I can actually grab photos from Facebook and incorporate those right into the personal note. It's really, really powerful, and it's really fun, and make lots of great connections by doing that. And so I have a lot of fun with that as well. But go and be prepared. And then I would invest in an hourglass. My company is called the 1 Hour Coach. And part of my logo on my website is an hourglass. I use the hourglass myself, and I encourage my clients to use an hourglass to spend an hour in focused energy based off of the business block that you are in. Mine's packed up now already, ready for Denver, but I encourage you to get one. We're visual creatures, and all this technology has tried to make us not visual, but apparently we are, because all we do is spend time looking at our phone. So we don't even talk on it that much anymore. Everything is visual, 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 visual. We don't want to read. We just want to look. So we are very visual creatures. So I encourage you to have a visual reminder of how much time you're being proactive and intentional at any given time. So it's just a great little idea. This is the source tracker I was talking about. So again, if you'd like a copy of that, please let me know. I'd be happy to send that to you. So now the next challenge is get out of your comfort zone. If you have been just cruising along in your business and you're like, oh, this is easy, this is great, you're not growing probably, because growth only comes through being through discomfort. So you need to try and do something that stretches you each and every day. And it can just be one thing. It could be calling someone in your phone that you haven't spoken to in 3 years. It can be calling an expired. It can be getting up in front of people and talking. It can be anything, doing Facebook Live, doing a video, who knows? But I challenge you to try to do one little thing that makes you feel uncomfortable each and every day. That expands your comfort zone, and in doing that, it expands all of where you are and your growth. So there is no growth without discomfort. So you need to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Tip number 2, open houses. Cannot tell you the success that people have been having with open houses. Very, very encouraged by the results that we have been seeing. And this is all over the country. You know, I kind of get tickled a little bit when people are like, oh, well, open houses don't work in our market. And I'm always curious, is that from experience, or is that just because nobody seems to do them, so apparently they don't work? Don't get caught up in the trap of that group think. Typically, if a lot of people are doing something, I like to do something different. If nobody's doing it, I like to try it. But actually, in this case, I just can't argue with the facts. If you do the 2-week prep, it's rare you're not going to have some folks come by. And there's no better case scenario for any of us in real estate, any of us in any kind of sales, period, than face-to-face. Because most people will not typically purchase a home without ever seeing it and without the assistance of a realtor. They might, but I don't think I want to run my whole business model out of taking out the importance of being face-to-face with my clients. So we do have technologies out there that are creating that, and it may become bigger and bigger. I don't know. It'll see how much our industry is under fire. But it's going to be up to you to make sure that you keep the value of being face-to-face. So an open house is fantastic for you to be face-to-face with people, whether they need to buy now, next year, or in 10 years. Doesn't really matter. We're trying to build a pipeline. So remember, from the 7 levels of communication, huge, you can see that the impact zone and the influential zone occur. The highest return is one-on-one meetings. You'll notice that advertising, direct mail, and even email, look how far down those are. A handwritten note is even more powerful than an email, direct mail, or advertising. I'm not going to say that we're going to abandon any of those, but where are you going to get the best return on your investment? Absolutely when you're face-to-face to people. So you need to be getting face-to-face with as many people as possible. So before the open house, please try to start at least 2 weeks prior to be able to create the interest and the traffic that's going to be making the open house worthwhile in the first place. When people call me on Thursday and they're like, hey, I think I'm doing an open house Sunday, I'm like, not this Sunday, right? And they're like, yeah, I was thinking about it. I'm like, I just don't know if I'd bother. I mean, you might have a little bit of luck if it's a very high traffic area. You can get your signs out real quick. But typically you kind of want to follow a lot of what Tom Ferry talks about in the mega open house strategy. I do a whole class on open houses. I've actually created a CE class on open houses, not your typical open house training, but that's critical. If you want more information on open houses, I'm not going to be able to touch on it all here. It's a 3-hour class, but just a couple of tips for open houses. Mail a letter to the entire neighborhood and draw from neighboring communities as well if you desire, but let them all know that you're holding the house open and invite them. Are they going to be purchasing the home? Probably not. But are they in a community in a position where they may sell a home eventually? Absolutely. There's actually no better prospect than a property owner for us to be having communications with and introducing ourselves to and adding them to our database, and then hopefully becoming an option for them if they ever need to buy or sell. Remember, you have to have pipeline thinking. You want to be thinking about building your pipeline, not always just looking for the person that needs to do something right this minute. You don't want to have that limited thing. And then you can pull up expireds as well. Here's just a copy of a letter. And again, I pulled some of these tag words and things in here from several coaches. I tend to follow a lot of different coaches. That's where I get a lot of my information. And then I bring it to my clients as well. And the ones that have success with it, then I know that those are things that I want to share. So typically I try to share things that are actually working and that people have used. Some of the stuff I actually have used when I sold real estate as well. But that's why it's important that I keep my finger on the pulse of what is working. And I communicate with probably, I don't know, close to 200 or more agents on a regular basis. So I'm actually finding out what's working. These letters are huge, sending out these letters, and you can change it up. You can have this template. I probably changed it since I've put this in this presentation. You're always trying to revamp and bring up to date and make current and add new call to actions and use the technology that you have available through your companies. So you always want to be changing things up and adding and subtracting. Knock on 10 doors, right? A lot of people will say, go walk the neighborhood. I'll be honest with you. I tell most people, go walk the neighborhood. And they're thinking, the first thing they think to themselves is, oh my God, there's 300 homes in this neighborhood. Heck no, I'm not going to go walk the neighborhood, right? I'm sure I would think that. I'd be like, I don't want to go walk the neighborhood. There's 300 homes. I could do something else. I don't want to do it. We'll figure out why we don't want to do that. Remember earlier when I said it's not all or nothing, folks. Can we do something? Can we do all or something? 10 houses, 20 houses, 15 houses? Get your feet wet. Go and try it. Like, I love all these people like, go call for 5 hours expireds. Well, I don't want to do that. Man, I just don't want to do that. Now, some people are going to do that, and that's great. And oh my gosh, usually if I find someone like that, I'm asking for their autograph. I want to sit in and listen. I'm truly inspired by the folks that have unbelievable work ethic and drive to push through things. But that's all determined by your why. How strong is your why and your aspirations? And what I find is that we run the gamut in real estate. Some people, we all have very, very different goals. So it really has to align with who you are and what you're trying to accomplish. Can you go knock on 10 doors? If you tell me you can't even knock on 10 doors, then I'm really going to wonder, like, what are you doing in real estate, honestly? If you cannot get out and walk on 10 doors when you're holding home an open house for your client, then I'm just going to challenge, then it comes down to, is this a will issue or a skill issue? And you want to make sure that you understand the will and the skill issue. Signs. Typically, when we talk about having an effective open house, you have to have a lot of signage. And when I tell people the number of signs that's usually needed for you really to go from average number of folks coming in to above average amount of opportunity that comes your way, I get a lot of different facial expressions because the number is about 10 to 20 signs. And I have some people that are just awesome and they put out even 30 or more signs. Unbelievable. Oh my gosh. But when you put out 3 signs, like one in front of the house, one at the neighborhood, and just one more, Your results are probably going to be driven only from what you do on the internet. And then if you don't do anything on the internet, you're not even using the internet strategies, then you're probably just going to have a couple of neighbors maybe come by. So when you put forth the effort, I've never had an agent that put forth proper focused effort that has regretted the effort that they put forth, because it's always a win. Now, there's going to be some times where it's just like, oh my gosh, I did every single thing I was supposed to and nobody showed up. Don't get discouraged. That's going to happen. There's going to be times where you play tennis or a sport and you're going to be like, oh my God, I couldn't get anything over the net. Can you relate to that? Do you play tennis? Do you play baseball? Do you play soccer? Do you play video golf? I mean, there's days where you're like, oh my God, it's like I've never even touched the game before. Like I have literally gone, I'm like, if I hit the net one more time, I'm giving up tennis. Like, what is going on today? You're going to have those kind of days, but it's not typically going to be the norm. So you have to build in for and just let it roll off your back, be the duck, but know that if you put forth the effort, typically you're going to see the result. If you don't put forth the effort, I mean, who are we to expect a tremendous result when we're not willing to put forth the effort? I mean, we know better than that. I mean, intuitively, we know better than that. So get the help that you need, get accountability, get a partner, do open houses together, have somebody help you put out the signs. You know, if you ask for help, it's amazing how many people want to help. I mean, most people were designed to help others. So you just need to be willing to ask for it. Get some different signage. We saw some of these. A friend of mine went to the National Association of Realtor Convention last year, and oh my gosh, they were bigger than these letters. They were like up to here. They were up to my chin. I was like, get a picture of me in here. I should load the picture from my cell phone. They're so large. They're hilarious, but they make such a statement. And you know, I want to work with someone who's different, who's bold, who's creative, who's willing to do things that other people aren't. So anytime you can, you know, take that creative edge over the norm like everybody else, it's probably going to be a win for you. Again, just doing something out of the norm might give you that uncomfortable feeling. Good. So good to be uncomfortable. It's so fun. I love it. You could do like teardrop ones. Just do something different. When you're there, have some stuff at hand to give out. Remember, if people are coming to your open house, there's a good chance that a portion of the people that come to your open house are going to other open houses as well. You want to be the standout. You want them to be like, dang, that agent was good. Wow, they had so much information. Wow, they were good. Wow, they were energetic. Wow, they were enthusiastic. Wow, they're like a new friend. You should have the I'm just meeting friends attitude and build those relationships. Now, you also have to have next step, but there's so much strategy that goes into this. But have packets of information, have a party atmosphere, have a how to protect yourself when buying a home, tax records, color brochure. Remember, you could be being interviewed by sellers in the community, so make sure that you do a bang-up job, because those sellers in the neighborhood are going to be super impressed by the service that you're providing to their friend and neighbor. Have a buyer brochure, a buyer needs and wants analysis. Have this all in a folder ready for them to go. A cool thing that I heard a guy talk about out in California is he bought stress balls with his logo on them. He bought like 1,000 at one time. And every time he does an open house, he actually has a little spiel. He says it he probably doesn't say it as scripted as he did in the video, but he's kind of like, when I meet people, you know, I'm always squeezing the stress ball. So I'm standing there squeezing the stress ball. And when people come into the open house, he just says something along the lines, I'm not going to remember it verbatim, but we shouldn't. Hey, so are you all out looking for a home, or do you live in the neighborhood? And they'll be like, oh, we're out looking for a home. Oh my gosh, how's it going? How does that make you feel looking for a house? How's the process been going? And that kind of lets you know, like, maybe where they're at, how they've been looking, how have you been going about finding a home? And then you may just drop that little line. So do you find it to be a little bit stressful? You're kind of, you know, he's like squeezing the stress ball. And the people are like, yes, it's kind of stressful. Or they may say, no, this is fun. And say, well, you know, if it's fun, that's great. But if you are feeling a little stressed, let me just tell you that that's extremely normal. It's actually one of the 3 top stressors is buying or selling a property. And it comes in third after I think it's death and then divorce and then buying or selling real estate. It's the third highest stressor for us. So anyway, he's kind of got that thing, and then he hands them the stress ball, and of course it's got his logo on it. And he does it real good. I can't think of his name. His last name starts with a Z. I think it's James Zabrowski or something like that. I could look it up if you want more information on that. Just let me know. So you have a needs and wants sheet. Make sure that you have registration. Get everybody registered. And then time frame is really the most important thing that you could obtain. But if you want more about the open house strategy, just make sure you connect with me and I'll be happy to provide you with additional resources. These are just some questions to make sure that you're rapport building. You've got to build rapport, and you have to have next steps with folks that come to an open house. Otherwise, there's really no point in having one. If you're not able to connect, build rapport, and have a next step established, and I don't really care what the next step is, then try to refine your approach. Start working on your approach if you're not thinking about the outcome in the proper way. So fourth quarter challenge for you, hold 8 open houses by the end of the year. Just take the fourth quarter challenge. Hold 8 open houses. And if you want some accountability or some help, then just shoot me an email and I'll hold you accountable. We'll get it on a schedule and I'll call you before and say, all right, which house are you holding open? Do you have all your stuff? Are you starting 2 weeks ahead of time? I'm happy to help you out if you need some help. But try to take the challenge. You know, we need to push ourselves to see what can be instead of assuming what just is not going to happen, right? Tip number 3, let's talk about the phone and the regular mail. Okay, so that was how to get face-to-face, is having an open house. Great way to get open house. Just one tip. There's a couple of others. Now let's talk about actually using the phone like a phone and using direct mail. So create your own inventory. That's circle prospecting. And you can circle prospect anytime you have a new listing, when you have a buyer that you can't find a home, when you're going to have an open house, or when you just want to dominate an area. Circle prospecting is extremely powerful. Most people shy away from it because they have call aversion. Once you can get past that call aversion, oh my gosh, it just becomes part of who you are. It's in your DNA. You can't wait to make the calls. Most people just don't give themselves enough time to get good at it. Like they just want to master it right away, and there's stages of learning how to do circle prospecting. So consider doing the circle prospecting. And if you want more information, like I said, on any of this, you're just going to have to reach out to me. New listing prospect letter. Now this one's kind of fun. I heard about this through Jared James. I'm not sure how many of you follow Jared James. I do follow him quite a bit. And he's got a lot of strategies and he says a lot of things that kind of hit you right between the eyes. And I really like that about him. It's one of those things where you're like, oh, I cannot believe you just said that. And I'm like, oh my God, I so needed to hear that. So it kind of gets you at first, but then it just really has that lingering effect where some people like get a little bit like, I don't know, he's a little bristly, or but usually when people are bristly, it's probably because I need to hear it, and I appreciate that. Again, I don't like to be too comfortable. If I'm too comfortable, then I know I'm not really doing what I could be doing. I'm not living to my potential, and there's room for improvement. So I actually enjoy being pushed and challenged, and fun, friendly debate about things is kind of fun, and I'm always looking to learn new things. I certainly have not figured out anything, let alone the best ways and the only ways to do things. I realize that every day there's something new that we can try, we can learn from, and we can get better at. So I am completely learning based, and I hope that you are too. You probably are if you're on the call. Anyway, the new prospect letter, what you want to do for this is pick an area, a neighborhood, or an area, depending on your local market, that you really want to become the expert in, that you really want to dominate and get a lot of listings in. And this would be using the mail. So circle prospecting is obviously using the phone. And this, you could set yourself up on a safe search for that particular farm area. And the day the house goes on the market, you're going to mail out 250 of these new listing prospect letters. Now I've updated the letter, so this one right in here, and you can have this presentation, this slide deck if you want. But I've updated the letter. So if you want the new letter, I've kind of changed it. It talks about why estimates aren't accurate and online valuators are pretty much for entertainment purposes, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with them. But we wouldn't want those to be the only resource to price our home. We wouldn't want to run the risk of leaving money on the table. And then if you're in a market that utilizes the Cloud CMA, we've added in the Cloud CMA to all of our mailings so that people have the ability for a really good call to action. But there's lots of different call to actions that you can use in these letters. The important thing is that you do have a call to action. So if you don't know what a call to action is, or you need some examples because you don't have Cloud CMA, then you could just reach out to me and we can kind of work up 2 or 3 that you can utilize. For sale by owners and expireds, this also would be a combination of letters and phone, right? And actually going by and seeing people, do very detailed courses on both of these. Expireds, I never actually mastered or never even got good at as a realtor, as a selling realtor. But for sale by owners, I actually did work for sale by owners for about a year, year and a half, and I wasn't like selling 500 homes with for sale by owners, but I started to understand the psychology behind it and what worked and what didn't, and actually had a lot of fun with for sale by owners. If you're really thinking about your business as meeting new people and becoming an option for as many people as possible, then you would definitely want to tap into for sale by owners. Very, very powerful. We have great strategies that we can share with those. Expired, basically, you need to commit to a schedule. You need to use some type of a service. If you're just trying to pull up the MLS and do expireds, you'll probably give up on that in about 30 minutes. It's just too hard to be consistent, having to go in, look it up. The phone numbers are never in there. That's always changed to the agent. So it's designed right from the start for you just to abandon ship pretty quick because you can't put any systems in place that are effective. So I would, definitely use like RedX or LandVoice or Vulcan 7 or whatever. And then there's just some things you have to track it. You want to put them on a safe search. You want to follow up with a handwritten note. I find expireds, I love the folks that have committed to working expireds. And it's not, and when people are like, I don't do that, or I don't work expireds, I don't do that. I always caution people, don't discount anybody that has a need to sell their house. If there's someone out there that could use your assistance, whether they're home expired or they're for sale by owner, don't close yourself to assuming that you know anything about anybody. All it is an opportunity for you to have a conversation to see if you can assist people. So when you become so closed to things, that tends to carry over into other areas, and you actually end up, instead of living in a world of abundance, you by default start living in a world of scarcity. And that's a really terrible place to approach a business from, when everybody is an option, right? Everybody's an opportunity. Everybody's an option. And you don't need to be an option for all 25 million or 5.6 million people that are going to sell this year. You're just trying to be an option for maybe 30 or 70 or 110, whatever your goal is and how many families you're trying to help. So try not to get into that trap of limited beliefs and cutting yourself off from something. Someone's home that didn't sell is no different than a referral. They had a house, it didn't sell. And unless you yourself have specific experience from trying something for about 12 months, you really have no say in whether or not it's a good approach or a bad approach or a scary approach or they're mean or this and that, unless you've actually done it for about a year. And then I would say that you have the authority and you come from a place of experience where you can give your 2 cents. I hear a lot of people give their 2 cents in things and they've never even tried it. And, that's just sad to me. It's just kind of sad. There's a lot of things I'd love to give my opinion on, but I just don't have enough information to really give it. So if more people would do that, we'd probably live in a lot nicer world. So really try to refrain from giving your opinion unless you can actually speak from experience. I tried expireds very little. I gave up so quick. Like a lot of folks that I talked to, we give up real quick. And I was just one of those that gave up quick. But I know several people that are actually having a wonderful time working expireds, and they have a great career. So anything I'm talking about today doesn't mean that I've done it, but I've seen other people do it. So that's how I know every approach works. It just has to align with your belief system, and then you have to give it time to work. So you have to work on the skill. So you got to have the will first, and then you got to work on the skill. That's all. So if it's something that you think you could see yourself doing, I encourage you to find out more about it, and I have some resources I can help you. For sale by owners are just an excellent source of immediate business, fastest source of business opportunity. Some people call FSBO. But you have to have a strategy. And again, it requires persistence, and it requires calling people week in, week out. And some people just don't have that muscle. They haven't worked on that persistence muscle. Remember, if something's not worthwhile, it'll never really fall into the persistence category. So being persistent is something means that it takes a lot of effort, but it's worth it. So you kind of have to figure out, how's your persistence muscle? This to me is real easy because you're just trying to meet a friend. And as David Knox says, you don't have to be good, you just have to be there. And you have to be there when their point of resistance to realtors is at an all-time low, and they just can't get it sold on their own. And with market times increasing now and months of inventory increasing and prices leveling out, this is a fantastic time for you to shine and to help for sale by owners accomplish their goals. So a very specific strategy we have for this. You're not trying to get the listing. It's a very, very different approach. If you want to know more, let me know. Ricky Carruth is another great resource that you can follow for circle prospecting. I'm not sure if he talks about for sale by owners and expireds anymore. He pretty much was 100% circle prospecting, but he may be expanding a little bit. But it's kind of fun to watch him make the calls live, and he puts those on his YouTube channel. And so sometimes people just want to see someone else do it in action to kind of get their fears kind of under control and get their motivation up. And you could do it as a group in your office or find an accountability partner. I'm all big on prospecting with partners. So partners in prospecting, I think, is just great. You know, having a coach is one thing, but when you actually have someone else that's doing it with you on a regular basis, like, to me, that's really where the magic is. So I have the company called the 1 Hour Coach, but honestly, if you got an accountability partner and a prospecting partner and you actually had a plan, you don't really need a coach. So you can figure it out. I mean, you guys can figure it out. I know every coach wants to say, oh, you have to have a coach. No, you don't. Have a plan to have support, have accountability, have someone that cares about what you're trying to accomplish. And if you can do it with someone else that's also trying to accomplish the same things, that's fantastic. I mean, that's really a win right there. I never had a hard time finding someone to prospect with, because I find that a lot of us are terrible on our own. We actually do much better if we just have a partner in crime, safety in numbers. So I'm just trying to provide you with lots of different ideas here today. So 4th quarter challenge, why don't you try this? Make 2 intentional phone calls per day. So you know how they say, oh, do an hour of calls, do 30 calls an hour, do this, do that. Remember I said all or something? How about 2 intentional calls per day for 70 days? That would be 140 conversations. I don't care if it's a FSBO here and expired there. If you have 140 people in your database that you feel like calling from now for the next 140 days, and that's 5 days a week, not 7 days a week, more power to you. I think I had a total of 150 people in my database when I was selling. That was the highest number I ever got to, that I'd be willing to call. And some of them actually I didn't want to call. So I don't know, you could mix in some current clients, some past clients, some friends, some family, an expired here or there, a FSBO here or there, circle prospecting. Mix it up. Mix it up. It's just 2 calls a day. 2 intentional calls a day, 140 conversations. Wow, what an unbelievable 2019 you would have right out of the gate. I guarantee you. We don't talk to enough people. Just the truth, the honest truth. We do not talk to enough people. We really don't. Tip number 4, top 100. Everyone in your sphere of influence knows at least 5 people who will buy or sell this year. So if you had 20 people in your sphere of influence and they all came in contact with 5 people that needed to buy or sell, and they liked you, trusted you, knew exactly how to refer you, would refer you, and had the opportunity to refer you because the people coming to them hadn't already made a selection of who to work with, that would be 100 warm leads in the next year. That's just after having 20 people. So you can see how the numbers multiply. I've been teaching this class since January. The folks that have put it into place, oh my God, I mean, really working it, not pretending to work it, not just filled out the sheet and now it's sitting somewhere blank gathering dust. The people that are actually proactive and intentionally working, the top 100, tremendous results. And again, that happens because we started in January and you start to get all this traction. So I think the real return on investment in the top 100, honestly, now that I've kind of been able to see this in action, is probably going to be in year 2. So I think the first year, and I didn't know that going into it, and some people have had more success than others, but I think everything takes time to, that's why working by referral gets better and better year after year after year, because you get better at staying in touch and staying in flow. So referrals is all about relationships. And if you don't have a good relationship with folks, then you're not going to be getting any referrals. So you really do have to become a massive giver. So we just use an Excel spreadsheet. So it's real easy, real simple. We keep it real simple. I do a whole thing on this. I think I've done a video on the top 100. I might revamp it and update it. If you want the old video, it's probably on my YouTube channel. If not, you could call me or private message me or email me, and I'll be happy to send you the spreadsheet over. So again, the working by referral model is phone calls, pop-bys, home anniversary. I mean, I go into pretty good detail about this, about a 90-minute session on really how to master this. No, I couldn't go into it all right now, but it is really good. So 4th quarter challenge, here's another one. Mail out 25 unsolicited market update reports. So pick 25 people maybe that have lived in their home 3 years or longer, and why don't you do a cloud CMA or a quick CMA or a CMA of some sort, and with a synopsis, personal note, and maybe a letter, cover sheet, and just mail it to 25 people, unsolicited. And just say, hey, I just was thinking about you, thought I would let you know what's going on in your neighborhood, kind of the way you get from your portfolios. If you have 401ks and stuff, you get that stuff unsolicited every quarter to let you know what's happening. It'd be a great opportunity for you to do that. Try it, 25. You'd be shocked what conversations would come from that. Tip number 5 is all about email and social media. Send out 2 emails in the next couple of weeks. The first one, send it to your entire sphere of influence, and in the subject line have, who's thinking about moving in 2019? And then come up with just 2 or 3 short sentences to kind of get the conversation going. If you need assistance coming up with those 2 or 3 sentences, give me a shout. And then the other one that would prompt you putting people on property searches would be, your neighbor did what? And again, you would then talk about what's going on in the neighborhood. And this is to prompt CMA home valuations where people fill it out and then you get a lead back, and then putting people on property searches. Property search is probably my it used to be my number 1 strategy. It's probably moved into my number 2 strategy for folks, is all around putting people on property searches. Add links to your email signature for the free home value report. That's through the Cloud CMA widget or a landing page. So if you have Back at You Media, or if you have landing page access through listings to leads, or if you have access to the Cloud CMA, you do have a landing page widget there that you can add. We have all kinds of strategies. Put a deal of the week on Facebook for the next 11 weeks. Every Monday, find a property that somebody should be buying, that you should be showing, and promote it on Facebook. Make sure you follow the rules of your local office, and check with your broker on how to put those on Facebook where it is compliant. Your website, that's like a store. So if you're working internet leads, I have tons of strategies for internet leads, for conversion. It's really your gold mine. So if you're not converting at between 15 to 18%, I could really, give you some tips and stuff on that. But when someone comes to your website, it's like walking into your store. So make sure that you're conversing with everyone that walks into your store on a regular basis and have a systemized approach. Most people don't have a systemized approach, so they give up too quickly. Again, most of the magic for internet leads, people that don't know you, happens between the 5th and the 8th contact. So it's real important that you have that persistent, consistent muscle working, but more importantly, that you know what to do to reach out. So if you're reaching out with a drip campaign, unless you're in a second home market or a vacation market, you're probably not getting the results that you could. Now, you may be doing okay, but I think I could show you some little tips and tricks on how to do that a little bit better. 4th quarter challenge, put 50 people on a property update via email, through your MLS, or through your website. 50 people on a property update. If you need clarification on that, please reach out. Power of an hour. This is a little chart from a course that I have access to that I teach at specific offices, but I'll share just this one thing here, and that is the opportunity cost associated with wasted time. So this just talks about if you were to do 30 dials, 1 hour, 5 days a week, building in for conversion tables and statistics from a specific coach, that you could, by making 30 dials, 1 hour, 5 days a week for 48 weeks of the year, potentially earn an additional 240,000 GCI if your average commission was $5,000. So it's a pretty powerful slide, and it just kind of reconfirms that there is a lot of power in an hour. And what I try to help people do is become consistent 1 hour at a time. And 1 hour at a time absolutely can change the dynamic of your career and your life in all aspects. So your personal, your financial, your business, your family. The power of an hour is unbelievable. And unfortunately, we don't give it enough credit. So I look forward to helping you any way that I can. So please feel free to reach out, call me, let me know how I can assist you. You can reach me at holly@theonehourcoach.com, and I challenge you to find my phone number, because I hope I have it everywhere I need to, but I might not. So you can let me know. If it was easy to find me or hard to find me, let me know how I can help. I'm happy to share any of the material that I have. You can have any of it. I have 19 years of all kinds of tracking forms and tips and tricks, and whatever area you can think of, I've probably dabbled in it, helped somebody else do it, did it myself, seen somebody else do it. I've just kind of lived and breathed in this arena, and I love it and I enjoy it. And if there's anything I can do for you at any time, I hope to hear from you soon. I hope you make it a great week, and I hope you take on some of the challenges that we talked about today. Look forward to helping you.